Hello Crows, today we're talking about the new Mass Effect job position. And if you can possibly believe it, how that could possibly mean hope for Dragon Age 5. Because there's a little detail in this job post that might actually piss off a lot of Mass Effect fans. But also, by its very nature, seems to suggest a little something sneaky going on. Let's get into it. Over the weekend, Michael Gamble, the project director and executive producer, posted a job position. The job being for a production director, someone that is going to oversee the entire production of the game. Fans, content creators, and news outlets descended down on this new information like a hawk diving for prey. The community is giddy with positivity and excitement, and the last thing I want to do is bring any of that down. However, I think a lot of people didn't read far enough into the post. Everyone is saying, oh, Mass Effect is now in production. We're finally out of pre-production, yay! Now, granted, I'm just a game dev student, and there's much about the industry that I still have to learn, and every studio does things differently. But all that said, there is no such thing as a director of a particular stage of development. They didn't have a director of pre-production. They're not going to have a director of post-production. They're not going to have a director of production. This isn't the kind of job people are really thinking. You have one director that oversees the full development process, pre-production, production, and post-production all together. Now, can you have directors for each stage? Sure, but that would be an incredibly silly thing to do. Project directors are a funnel between the creative intent of the project and the actual development of that intent throughout the entire process. If you break that up by stage, then you're going to have different interpretations of that intent at each of the stages. They may be similar, but ultimately they won't be 100% perfect. They won't be exact. This makes things confusing for the dev team as they move forward from stage to stage, ultimately snowballing into complications. Complications BioWare, I'm pretty sure, is well aware of. It's also redundant. The project director is already the director of production. And finally, it's wasteful. You're creating a $100,000 to $200,000 salary paid position for a job that is already being completed by another person, the project director. So either Gamble is looking for a way to do less work for more money, or, and I'm leaning in this direction, mainly because Gamble doesn't really seem like the type, there's something a little sneaky going on. And to my credit, when you read the job post, it literally says in black and white, provide leadership across the full development life cycle, anticipating needs, setting executional direction, and ensuring teams are positioned to succeed at each stage. At each stage, pre-production, production, and post. So there's two ways to go about this. One option is that Mass Effect has not started pre-production yet, as ludicrous as that sounds. Somehow, after years and years of this, we haven't even reached the starting line yet. The other option is that there is a second project in the works. However, the job clearly says this is for Mass Effect, so how can this help a second project? Well, Michael Gamble is not only the current director of this project, but he's also the executive producer of the studio. So here's my theory. Mass Effect 5 is currently being worked on in pre-production, but a second, secret project has reached a point that demands Gamble's full attention. When this new production director is chosen, that will give Gamble the freedom to slide on over to this new project and begin working on it in interest. What is this secret project? Maybe it's Dragon Age 5. Maybe it's a Dragon Age remaster. Maybe, quite possibly, it's an entirely new intellectual property. Whatever the case, having a project director and a production director working on the same project is akin to having two captains commanding the same ship. It doesn't make sense. If we are in production, then it's also odd that this is the only job on offer. Where are the programmers, the level designers, the 3D artists? Where is the growth of the team? We're still at a point where a team at this stage should be growing, not decreasing. Granted, I'm just a student, but something feels weird here. Whether that's a new project being worked on or something else, we're just gonna have to wait and find out later. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Until then though, be safe, be well, be kind. Bye-bye.